I have always wanted an Omega Speedmaster. And not just any Omega Speedmaster, I've always wanted one with a reverse Panda dial. And the budget I had was only around $2,000 to $3,000. And most Omega Speedmasters with reverse Panda dials come in around $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, except for in Japan, where they made this, the Omega Speedmaster 3511.50. Now, I bought this watch about a month ago and I've been really excited to share it with you guys. I had to get new equipment, but today I'm going to be diving into this watch, showing you things I love about it, things I don't love about it, and overall my thoughts and opinions on this watch. So stay tuned while I get behind the camera and show you more about this watch. Let's go ahead and jump into this review and start with the specs of the watch. So this watch is roughly the same size as the Omega Speedmaster Reduced, with 39 millimeters in width and a relatively short 44 millimeters lug to lug. It's got a 13.5 millimeter thick case with a domed sapphire crystal with little to no AR coating, as you can see from the new light that I have to show these watches off. And it has a closed case back with the famous Speedmaster insignia on the back. You can see that. And it utilizes the Omega Caliber 1155, which really is just a valjoux 7750 with some tweaks from Omega. But I'll get a little bit more into that here in a bit. So I want to move to the overall design of this watch. This watch is the 3511.50 reference, and it features a really cool reverse Panda dial with an amazing patina, as you can see on all the hour markers. It also features aged Tritium Lume, which gives the dial really excellent color and contrast to the overall dial, and a lighter black dial than its spacewalking cousin. So the chronograph dials are at the 12, 6, and 9, and the minute markers also look amazing, and I really love the font used for the numbers 5 through 55, just like on the Big Brother. And the date window isn't hidden. It's a white disc that really gives good balance to the overall asymmetrical dial. Moving on to the case, has a stainless steel bezel, which is unique to this watch, along with some of the older neo vintage Omegas, and gives it that unique 90s Omega flair. It also features a tachymeter filled with black lacquer that's still fully intact on this model, as you can see. Now, my steel bezel is scratched up pretty good, and a lot of those scratches are actually from my doing. It doesn't necessarily bother me, but in more even well-loved examples, the lacquer is often missing and has fallen out in some of the markers. The case also features the same unmistakable lyre lugs as the full-fat Moonwatch, which adds to the case's overall design. One really cool thing about this specific Speedmaster reference is this crown. It's a hexagonal crown, which is still original to this watch and is such a unique quirk of this model. I think it makes it very interesting to look at on the side. Looking at the bracelet, it features the iconic 80s to 90s Moonwatch style bracelet that's on the current Moonwatches. It's got polished center links and brushed outer links with a fold over clasp that is friction fit. It has 6 points of microadjust. This is a 90s watch, it doesn't have on the fly, but I do think the bracelet is overall incredibly comfortable and suits this watch very, very well. With those polished center links, it does dress up the watch a little bit more. I personally like the way it catches the light. I think it looks really, really cool. But I think it's just incredibly comfortable for its age, and it's actually very high quality. It's less rattly than a Rolex bracelet of the same vintage, and it just is very solid, which makes the bracelet weighty without being fatiguing and gives the watch an overall feeling of high quality. So let's chat about this movement. The movement is the Omega Caliber 1155, which again is just a modified valjoux 7750 with the day feature stripped from it. Still has the date, it just has the day feature removed. It's incredibly accurate for its age, and with this specific model running well within COSC standards, even though it isn't necessarily a COSC certified watch. This differs from the Speedmaster Reduced, which uses a modified ETA movement with a piggyback chronograph added on. This essentially means that when I go get this movement serviced, it will be easier to service and less expensive as those Omega Speedmaster Reduced, as these valjoux 7750s are much more common in the industry. This watch has a roughly 40-hour power reserve and is accurate from the moment is wound all the way to its final tick. And a little bit more background on this watch overall. This is a JDM only model, and while the total number that were produced is unknown to me, it's fairly easy to spot on sites like Chrono24, eBay, watch finders, etc. for at or around $2,000. Models with box and papers usually fetch a premium, as those are harder to come by and usually lost by the time the original owner moves on from the watch. Mine came with box and papers and was all in around $2,300, including taxes and shipping from Japan. I'm in the United States. Reasons why I chose this model and things that I really love about it. First, the dial. The dial is unlike any other watch that I can get at or around $2,000. It's a reverse Panda automatic chronograph from Omega for $2,000. That's unbelievable. It dresses up or down with ease, and really genuinely has quickly become my daily wear watch because I can run to the store in a t-shirt with it and just as easily throw on a sport coat for a fancy dinner and not have to worry about what watch I'm actually wearing on my wrist. I think the patina on the dial adds much needed color and character to the watch that's already loaded with style. As you can see, the bracelet is one of the more comfortable in my collection. I don't have problems with it catching hairs, but some people have reported that. The other thing about this is it's a legit Speedmaster. No, it's not the Moonwatch, but it's a fucking Speedmaster, and it's $2,000. This is every bit of Speedmaster as much as its full fat brother, the one who went to the moon, and looks amazing. The design is so unique to this, and it looks so cool. A Tudor Prince chronograph from the 90s with a similar style and the same movement fetches around $5,000 for well-loved examples, whereas these fetch as low as $1,500 for very rough condition examples of these. The movement in this is incredibly accurate and allows me to not worry about if the time is actually truly accurate because I know it usually is. Having the peace of mind to be able to wear this watch as much as I want and however I want really lets me know that when I need servicing, it won't cost me an arm and a leg to fix, which I really enjoy. I also really like the buttons, and I like that the crown and the buttons are aligned on this model. On the reduced, the buttons actually sit above the crown due to the added on chronograph addition to the ETA movement, whereas this is always meant to be a chronograph movement. It's a weird nitpicky thing, but those reduced model buttons are located above the crown, and again, it drives my OCD just a little bit crazy. However, this watch is not without its flaws. First things first, being a 39mm, if you have larger wrists, it may be gobbled up by your wrists. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and I actually think it looks really good on it. As you can tell, it sits well on top of it. It's not swallowed up or looks like a women's watch. It really does suit most wrists very well, and if you have a smaller wrist, this is one of the first models I would recommend for a Speedmaster. Now, I tend to gravitate towards larger watches like my Tudor Pelagos or a new watch that I picked up this week, and if you have stuck around in the video this long, I'll give you a little hint. It's a new Tag Heuer that I picked up for very cheap that I'm excited to share with you all. One other slight issue I have with this watch is the 18mm lug width. It's just a little small. It really just limits my ability to find aftermarket straps. And it's not a huge issue as companies, especially strap companies, have been on the hop lately, but it does mean I have to buy more straps, which, you know what, could be a good thing. Who doesn't like doing a little bit of extra window shopping? But again, I don't have a lot of 18mm straps, and that is something that is a little bit frustrating with this watch in particular. Now, another thing that does drive me a little bit crazy, but is something that you can't really do about it, is the subdial layout. Now, this is gonna be a little more controversial, given this is one of the things I also love about the watch, but I really do wish these were in the traditional 369 layout like the Moonwatch. It's obviously due to the movement. The valjoux 7750 has the chronograph dial laid out in this specific way, so it's not something that they could do. And it wasn't a deal breaker for me. This layout is why Omega went and made the reduced model using an ETA movement, and that ensured that the subdials mirrored the actual Moonwatch. In this instance, I think it makes the watch look very neo-vintage and interesting, but it would be nice to have it at the 3, 6, and 9 rather than the 6, 9, and 12. The other issue I have with this watch is something I also love about it. I love the steel bezel, however, it does scratch a little bit too easily. I don't mind having scratches on my watches. My Pelagos is scratched all over the bracelet, and many of my other watches have bumps and bruises from my heavy-handed approach to wearing them. However, given this is a polished bezel, it scratches so damn easy, like too damn easy. You can see in these shots just how scratched up my bezel actually is. And this is something where if there was like a ceramic coating I could add to the outside of the watch, kind of like people do with cars, to ensure it doesn't get gnarly too quickly, it's something that I would immediately add to this watch. However, this isn't a game ender for this watch. It adds a lot of character to it and isn't something that really drives me too crazy. And if it really does, again, I can just send it to Omega and get a new bezel or get this one restored. So overall thoughts on this watch, I would give it an 8.4 out of 10. I really enjoy it. It's not too thick. The movement keeps it relatively thin. I think the overall design of the watch is excellent. I really actually love this bracelet. I think it dresses up the watch in a really nice way, and I have a rubber strap to go with it if I want to dress this down. So I think it's a great daily driver. If you're looking for a Speedmaster around the $2,000 mark, it's hard to pass this one up. The triple function Omega Speedmasters are also great options, but I feel those dials are a little too busy. Whereas this one is just so clean to look at. It has those lyre lugs. It is a traditional Speedmaster design, but with the reverse Panda, it just looks so cool. And it's such an eye-catching piece that I think is so unique to Omega. It's unfortunate that it was only made in Japan, but that is a good reason that these prices are so low on these watches. So if you're looking for a Speedmaster and you're around the $2,000 to $3,000 mark, this would be my first recommendation for you all. One more wrist shot just to show you what it looks like again on my 7.5-inch wrist. I just think it's a beautiful watch, and if you really are interested in it, I would go take a look on Chrono24 and Watchfinders. Try and find one that looks like it has the original patina and maybe has been serviced in the last 10 to 15 years. But overall, love this watch. I got it for my 30th birthday. This was made in 1995, so it is a cool birth year watch, and I think it's just a really cool design that you can't beat for $2,000. I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think, what watches you would actually go for instead of this for $2,000 as an automatic chronograph. Maybe even other Omega references that you find interesting that you'd like for me to check out. Anyways, if you like this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing an updated state of the collection here in a couple videos as I have a couple new pieces that rolled in. But thank you again so much for watching.